Good morning, Tara. Welcome to Singapore. Is this your first time here?
Yeah, it's my first time here in Singapore. I just came from Malaysia for a few days and happy to be here. Having a great time.
Yeah, we're honored to have you here, actually. It's been a pleasure to host you, and your class in the morning was super energetic, very different. How would you describe your style of practice and teaching?
Oh, thanks. Well, we have a lot of fun. We have a studio in New York called Strala, and it's really developed into a global training program where it's all about finding the ease and movement-based yoga as opposed to staying in a pose and holding a pose and having that be, perfect and more stiff and rigid. So everybody feels free to follow how they feel, and they end up doing a lot more with a lot less effort. So it's very fluid and very fun too, because everybody wants to have fun, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you've taught around the world, in America, in various parts of the world. Now you come to Asia. After being in Malaysia and now here in Singapore, what do you think are some of the differences in the approach or the style of the level of practice compared to the States where you're from?
Well, I think it's interesting. Yoga seems to be pretty much the same everywhere I go. Like there's a lot of, very traditional yoga. So people have, even if it's vinyasa or Iyengar or whatever style it is, people are used to sort of being serious. And we have a little bit more fun in the States as well. But I think there's still that seriousness here. Everybody wants to have fun though and wants to be able to move and sort of feel and explore their body. So I think not just with what I'm doing with Strala, but I think there's going to be a new movement happening where people are, having a little bit more freedom in their yoga practice. And I think that's a good thing.
Okay, you spoke about Strala and you've also launched your new line of clothing in 2013. Congratulations to you on that. What's coming up for the next season?
So I started working with Reebok in the beginning of 2012. It takes a whole year for the stuff to sort of, get going and all the designs. And it's been really cool to just work with a design team. And I always wanted to have a line of clothing or just even wear a line of clothing that feels more free and fun. Especially in the States, a lot of the yoga apparel companies are, more like restrictive and it feels like almost like athletic or running apparel. So all the fabrics are really soft and make people feel good about themselves. So that's the idea. You don't want to feel like you can't breathe when you're doing yoga. And all the fabrics are easy, and then all the sayings are fun, like get downward and make your own rules and make your own yoga and have a good time and things like that. So it's just meant to encourage people to have fun and be easy in their bodies.
Awesome. Tara, tell us, what's in your yoga bag?
What's in my yoga bag? Oh my goodness. Well, usually my iPhone, which has everything I need for yoga, which is just like music, which is super essential for me. I always play really fun contemporary music because I feel like it helps people relax and also enjoy themselves. Sometimes with yoga, people, especially if it's their first time, they if there's no music, that may be good for concentration sometimes, but it's also maybe more serious and they feel like they can't have fun. So I like to play music. People are like, oh, I've heard of this song. I can kind of be easy and throw some oldies in there. And everybody's just relaxing and feeling into their bodies in an easygoing way.
I definitely felt the energy, when you brought the music on just now. Yeah, it was very different to practice. And is that something new? I mean, we have acro yoga, you have yoga on paddle boards, you've got anti-gravity yoga. There's so many new types of yoga coming up. But now, and we're seeing now music and pop music in yoga. What do you think is the next trend in yoga?
Well, I'm hoping the next trend is teachers encouraging people to follow how they feel and invite a little bit more movement, a little bit more ease and freedom into their practice. So I think it's not just, me and my bubble of Strala. Everywhere I go, people are like, oh, it feels amazing. Or they follow some of my videos on YouTube and they start teaching that way, or they start just casually leading their friends that way. And it feels better. I mean, the whole sort of goal of yoga originally, as far as, I've always been able to figure out, is it's meant to connect you with yourself, not to try to fit into a particular yoga pose. You're sort of trying to connect and be centered and feel good and be a good person and all of that stuff, that we're supposed to be doing. But, it's hard to do all of those things if you feel cramped and restrictive. So I think the trend is really starting to move easy and just have that be the new old yoga, because that's sort of the original idea, I think.
And you talked about your YouTube videos, and I've actually watched many of them, I must say. Yeah, you're an inspiration to millions of people around the world. Who inspires you?
Oh my gosh. I think everybody inspires me. I mean, being here today and meeting people and just hearing their stories about how they've cured and healed themselves just by finding different ways to move in their bodies and by feeling good by doing that, and also making changes in their lives from, eating better to, being in a better relationship or doing better at their job or going for a better career and, sort of feeling that initial thing that it is to kind of kickstart that. So I think for me, meeting people at these kind of events and meeting people around the world is really an inspiration. It keeps me feeling really recharged.
Awesome. Speaking of inspiration and meeting people around the world, you have worked with some of the biggest influencers, Deepak Chopra, Bill Clinton. How has working with them shaped your practice or yourself if in any way?
Yeah, I've been really lucky. I've met really amazing, fantastic people at great times in my lives, and I think sometimes the universe just comes along and says, I think you should be doing that, or I think you should be doing that. And with Deepak, we met at an event sort of similar to this, and he said, I really like what you're doing. Will you teach me yoga? And I said, you don't need a yoga teacher. You're Deepak Chopra. You know everything about yoga. And he said, yeah, but I like what you're doing, and I want somebody to work with, and I want to endorse somebody that really, helps people feel good about themselves. And that's what he's done with meditation and spirituality. Just made it really, I think accessible is an overused term, but making it more normal for people to connect with themselves in an easygoing way. So, and with Bill, we're supposed to call him President Clinton. When I met him the first time, I got really nervous because you're not supposed to say like, hey, Bill, like, how you doing? So
I totally would have.
I know. I really had to center myself. I got all nervous. But, he's just been a big inspiration. He's a part of this Alliance for a Healthier Generation. So it's bringing yoga for kids in schools. There's 18,000 schools. So they all have my program, Stiles program, in their classroom. So between math and science, a lot of these schools, the kids don't have recess. They don't have any time at all really to get out of their desk and move around. So they're starting to get, a lot of problems. And this is helping them come and reconnect to themselves. So everybody that I've met that's sort of been a huge inspiration, a huge influencer in the world has really just kind of grabbed me, by the arm and said, okay, this is what you're going to do. We're going to, use you to help people in an easier going way and spread that message. So I'm happy I get to help.
Awesome. You have a book called Slim, Calm, Sexy Yoga. And we also talked about yoga apparel earlier and your new line. Do you think the whole idea or the topic of sexy yoga is sexy, do you think that's a necessary evil in order to spread the message of yoga? Or do you think people are more focused on that now than they should be rather than focusing on the spiritual side of yoga?
Well, I think the great thing about yoga is it connects you to exactly who you are, and it doesn't make you, sort of forget about one part or the other. And when I wrote that book, there was just Iyengar's book on yoga, and there wasn't really a lot of modern fun books on yoga. And I said, this is what you get when you practice yoga. You get slimmer, you get calm, you feel better about yourself. And if that's a little bit sexy and that's a little bit, being more connected to your partner, then that's a great thing. And I think, that's a great way to sort of help people, just get in there and give it a try. And then once you give it a try, the whole world of yoga opens up to you. So it doesn't have to be a crass sort of, sexualized thing, but just feeling really good about yourself and having a good time.
Okay. Well, you spoke about your book. I hear you've got a new book coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
So food is obviously super important, and the more people I meet, the more they say, I started doing your videos and I feel better, so I want to eat better. What do I do? Or they're starting to figure out, how to eat really simple and how to eat really clean. And that's the key to everything. Yoga is great, but it has to be the whole lifestyle. So the book is called Make Your Own Rules Diet, and it has yoga and meditation and a lot of healthy recipes. And the next one will be Make Your Own Rules Cookbook, and it'll be just recipes. So that's been really fun to make. I've always had a food blog for a little while, and the internet's great because I get to share recipes and connect with other people's recipes around the world. And I'm going to try to have for the cookbook that's coming out the following year a lot of recipes from around the world in my travels that I get to meet from you. So if you have any great recipes from here that are healthy, let me know. Singapore healthy recipes.
It's funny that you asked because I actually brought you breakfast.
Oh!
Yeah, but you're going to have to guess what breakfast is.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Is it something spicy?